Hello, everybody. It's time for the favorite, best, super great, sorry, podcast that you have not listened to yet. Kicking out of two. How's everybody doing? I am Michael. With me, as always, my auditory partner, Tori. Tori, how are you doing?
Auditory? We have video.
But we're a podcast, so auditory.
I was wondering, we may want to reconsider that name since we don't technically just podcast. Wouldn't we be streamers at this point?
I mean, we kind of reverted back though, mainly because the game was getting kind of boring.
That's fair.
To me, I think we're podcast first,
Okay.
and we do other stuff.
Okay. I'm sorry, what?
You're entertaining.
We're entertainers. Thank you. That's our
Thank-
mascot, Chicken Nugget.
Thank you, Peanut Gallery.
He also talked about different sports and how they file for taxes as if it's like if they do it if they're an actual sport or like if they do it entertainment. Like football, they'll file under entertainment, but baseball files under sport. And so that's why with football, like they're only suspended for like 4 games or whatever if they're on steroids. But in baseball, they find out they're on steroids and they gotta go through like a whole trial.
You do understand that football has 17 weeks and baseball has 152 games, right?
Yeah.
That's why they suspend them for like 40 games, because it's the same thing as 4 weeks in the NFL. Go do whatever you were doing. Shut up. Oh my God.
Did you give her Adderall today?
No, she went and got a tattoo. You'd think she'd be a little more
Whew.
calm.
Goodness. All right. Well.
Took a midday nap.
Oh.
Now I'm like Batman. Like,
Hey, Excalibur's on Blue Sky.
That's awesome.
Fuck yeah.
Hey, I sorry, I had an ADD moment while you're doing all that, and I don't want to let it go, because you said her name was Nugget. First of all, I'm not a nugget, damn it. I'm a Blackheart.
Okay.
Second of all, have you seen the new chicken pot pie nuggets? They're
I'm
nuggets
sorry.
filled with chicken pot pie stuff, and I can't find them anywhere, and it makes me sad. What?
Who thinks these things up and thinks there's a... Don't stop it. So this is our first stream since we started our Blue Sky. Shout out.
Yep, shout out.
Because we're big fans.
As you can see below, we have all of our socials down at the bottom. First one is Blue Sky. That's what the little butterfly is. It's a nice respite from Twitter.
Very much so.
Not as much toxicity there, so definitely enjoying ourselves being there. Well, so we do have someone watching us. So hi, who are you? Post some chat there. Talk to us. We're gonna go start off with some news though. News before I actually start on that, I want to say I do not have anything in my notes about spoilers for next week's Raw. I chose to leave that stuff out there. We do know a couple of things just because we can't stay off of the internet. So, but we will not be spreading any of that on today's stream. So don't worry about it. We're not going to spoil anything for Raw next week. Why is it preempted, by the way? I didn't.
I don't know. I was kind of wondering that. I'm like, are we going back to Saudi Arabia? Have we decided to just sacrifice wrestlers? Is that what we're doing?
Well, I kind of wondered if maybe it's like, because I wouldn't mind if we went back to like one live, one off, and like went back to that schedule to give them a week off. I'd be fine if that's what we're doing.
As we are getting into the holiday season.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, it'd be good.
But I don't know the specific reason of why we're doing this.
So first thing we got on the docket here, WWE Raw taping updates. This is non-spoiler, so this has nothing to do with anything that's going to spoil anything for anybody. But next week's Raw taping is going to include a Rey Mysterio and Zelina Vega versus Chad Gable and Ivy Nile. It's also going to include Braun Breaker versus Sheamus, which we already know because of what happened on Raw.
Right.
I'm loving that, by the way. I'm really hoping he gets it. I want him to win it.
Sheamus?
Yeah, give him that IC belt. That way he has the Grand Slam. He deserves it. He has been there a long time now, and he is
He's
still
done his
going at a
time.
high
It's-
level. So,
Yeah, I
Um,
agree. They should.
plus, I think so. Braun's story, even from NXT, always has been like he gets to the top of the mountain, he gets knocked down, and then he learns why he got knocked down, and then he gets right back on the top like a couple of weeks later.
Yeah.
So I'm fine with that. If you give it to Sheamus, then 2 weeks later or at the next pay per view, he wins it back from Sheamus, I'm okay
Yeah.
with that because he learned what he should have known. I'm
Even
fine
if
with
he
it.
doesn't win it back though, because I don't feel like at this point Braun needs the title.
I don't think he does either.
I feel like just in the short time he's been there, knowing Braun has a match is enough to be interesting.
Yeah. I mean, he's great in the
Um,
ring. He's
yeah.
getting that personality down too, which is great to see how quick he's learning the business.
Yes.
Of course, he's got like he has his uncle, and he also has fuck that guy, that's helping him learn. So obviously he's been around it his entire life. Speaking of new belts, though, so we also got a notification that we are going to be having a U.S. women's belt. Thank
I'm so
God.
fucking excited about this.
This is the announcement
And
we
if
should have had a
anybody but
month
Chelsea
ago.
Green wins it first, I'm gonna be pissed.
So I got into a little back and forth on, I think it was on Blue Sky, about that because someone had mentioned like who would they want on there, and so I of course like posted that I think Chelsea Green should be the first one. Someone replied to me and said Lyra Valkyria would be her choice, which to me it's here's the thing though, it's two sides of a coin, right? Because if Lyra gets it, her getting that belt makes her. If Chelsea gets it, she makes the belt. So the question is the first person, which I think Chelsea still needs to be the first person then, because the first person that wins it needs to be high profile.
And the first person she lose it to should be Lyra.
There you go.
100%. I can get behind that.
I've seen some other people out there puts out some wonderful names. Someone said, "What about Naomi?" Naomi's a wonderful pick.
That's not a bad pick at
Very
all.
high profile, former world champ.
Yeah.
Definitely good for her to have it. Trying to think. Someone said some other things. I don't remember the other names that come to mind now. There has been a rumor going around that one of the wonderful former UK superstars from NXT is going to come back.
Who?
Her name. So because I didn't have this written down, this one just comes off the top of my head. She was with the black hair, and
that does not narrow it down at all.
Hold on, and she had the like the blonde streak in it, and she was from NXT UK. And they put her in that like random 3-woman group not too long ago with the witches.
Blair Davenport.
There you go, Blair Davenport. That they're going to repackage her.
The sad part is that I figured out who you were talking about from those horrible clues.
And if you like that, watch our TikToks. Guess Woo is just about that. It's almost the same thing.
That's fair.
But anyway, so they're going to repackage her into a personal assistant for Charlotte, apparently. Her new name is going to be Miss Melissa, I guess, if I read that right. There's something to that regard. Hold on, I'm going to turn on a little fan here. Go ahead.
Why are we having an actual active performer play that role and not a non-performer?
I don't disagree, because like to me that like we just had this big thing about we lost Samantha because Samantha wanted to be something other than an announcer.
This would have been a perfect role for her.
That would have her be her personal ring announcer, personal assistant. She's the only one that gets Samantha to like introduce her.
Do you understand how money that would have been?
Oh yeah.
And here's the other thing. When Samantha is talking about somebody else like Chelsea, she says her name like the entrance the first time. And Charlotte corrects her, is like, no, ma'am. She doesn't get that. You worked for me.
You worked for me now.
But you could do that with Chelsea. There's several of them that she did that with.
Oh, would have been so good. ROH Final Battle. We got notification that they're going to be at a very interesting venue.
I'm a big fan of this.
They're coming to the Hammerstein. So, little tip for Tat, maybe, because we just had NXT in the Hammerstein, and now we're going to turn around and have ROH there. Whether that was Tony's plan or not to have the tip for Tat or not, but it is kind of interesting. Like, we just
We'll
were
take
there.
it either way.
Yeah, we were just there, and now we've got a new thing. Something we talked about a little bit before the stream. You brought up Montez Ford. So there has been some rumors going back and forth about the contracts of the Profits. Rumors suggest that there's tension among the Street Profits, and this is from Fightful. They said they could not confirm if there was contract renewal plans or not. So not specifically them saying that they are willing to go other places, but just no confirmation that there has been any renewal talks. What are your thoughts?
Somebody commented it's not showing up on the stream though.
Oh, well, interesting. Oh, hey.
Bot?
No, that is not a bot.
It says it's a moderator.
What?
I don't know. Who is this?
That is one of the people in the Sports Scoring Network.
Oh, okay.
So welcome. Yes. Fightful killed that rumor today about Blair. Thank you. I hadn't come across that yet.
If they did, good.
Yeah, absolutely good. There's no reason at all that she should be someone's valet.
No.
She is wonderful in the ring. They just haven't quite got her tuned into what character is going to get her over with the crowd yet. I thought with the Witches there was a spot there. There was a chance.
That would have been so good. I mean, we've got shout out to Dakota Kai for her return last night.
Mm-hmm.
I saw it on Twitter before I saw Twitter or Blue Sky before I watched Raw, which was today, and was like, okay, Dakota's back, nice.
Yeah, I was glad to see her back. I was a little sad that there wasn't a lot of fanfare about it, though. That it was just kind of, oh, there she is, because like she got hurt and had surgery and everything, and we're just like, all right, well, no, she is in the ring again.
Right.
So what are your thoughts on the Street Profits, though? We were leaving off on that there. I'm gonna try to fix this chat problem while you're talking.
You're fine. I definitely think Montez. I think both of them could make a singles run. Absolutely, I think Angelo has all the tools, to have a singles run as well.
Okay.
Do I think either of them will get a legitimate quality singles run in the WWE? Absolutely not.
I personally think Montez could. I do think Dawkins would get the Marty treatment, which is sad because he's very talented.
Absolutely. I mean, the man is athletically crazy. Honestly, I think the best thing for both of them is to leave. Leave and go do what Drew did and what Cody did and what Mox has done. Go out and prove what you can do. Because then when you do bring them back, which they would at some point if they do that, then you know they can carry whatever you put on them.
Right.
I wouldn't, if they both leave, I would not bring them back as a tag team. And if I'm them, when I leave, I don't come back as a tag team.
I see you there.
I think it should be a mutual parting of ways of we both just have other things we want to do. We still got love for each other. We got each other's back, but we want to go do our own thing. And so that's what we're going to do.
Yeah. I mean, my concern obviously is them getting lost in the weeds We've already got a lot of big name people that have moved over to AEW.
And you know what? Have him go over to TNA.
See, that wouldn't be too bad. If it wasn't a we're done with you, it was more of a slide over there. Montez could be a main event
That's
player.
fair.
Yeah,
100%.
absolutely. For sure. Or even move keep Montez where he is on the main roster, move Dawkins back and have him, because there's a story there, right? Dawkins spent so long trying to figure out that character, trying to figure out what was going on with him. And if I remember right, on one of those Breaking Ground specials, he was on the cutting block. And so him being able to say, hey, look, I'm going to come back here and I'm going to run things, and going for the NXT title could be a perfect opportunity for him to show what he can do, and then also kind of close that book, close that chapter of his story. Is Nugget back there talking shit? So yeah, I think my worry is them going to AEW, because I know that's kind of the biggest thing that the internet already blows up about anytime someone of high value leaves WWE, is they need to go to AEW. They've got enough players over there. They don't need to add more people to it. And it seems to be that they're finally getting past the thing that we always complained about before, which was the new toy that was happening. So
if they were to go AEW, the only way I would do it is as a team, because if you put them in that tag mix,
oh yeah, that
they
would
can
be
run
nice.
with anybody.
Absolutely.
I mean, as young as they are with the youngest men alive.
Well, and here's the thing: if storyline is to be believed, and we see where that's going, they may be breaking up one of the biggest tag teams over there. And if that's the case,
the Acclaim.
Yeah, I mean, he held on to that. He held on to that business card.
That MVP card.
So maybe not. I don't know.
I got bad news for Max. You are the Jannetty.
I would give him a little more than that. He's like the Enzo. I mean, I don't disagree at all. They definitely got lost in the shuffle, and it's weird seeing Rico come in for something like that, because that.
And then he was gone. Like he was just there for that one thing and then
left. It was
left.
just for the thing. Yeah, it was strange.
I think the Profits, though, I think if you brought them over, honestly, I think I wouldn't be surprised if both Buddy and Malachi are leaving. Depending on their contract status. I don't know what those are for either one of them. But if they are leaving, and I think FTR is going to leave too, then bringing them in isn't a bad thing. I don't think it's a bad thing. The Bucks are going to be off TV for a while, but just think of some of those matchups we could get bringing them in.
Oh, if done right, they'd be a great fit for it. It's the doing it right part.
Yeah.
I think when we get that ROH TV deal going, I think there could be a place for them there. So that kind of just all depends on how long they have to ride out their contracts, what's going on there. But I still get worried. I think you're right. I think Buddy did resign. I do remember hearing something about that.
And
hey, we just got a new follower. Emmy, thank you for following. Go ahead and hang out with us a little bit if you want to here. I'm so excited that alert worked. I'm sorry, I'm dumbfounded now. I'm like, it worked. It was above my head and it did the voice. That was cool. All right.
I couldn't hear the voice.
Oh, I didn't share the sound with you.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, so I don't know. Malachi's really pushing the I'm not gonna sign anywhere else. I'm not gone. I'm still here. But we hear that a lot with people that are trying to make it a surprise that you're going somewhere else. So what happens there? I do remember Buddy resigning though, because that was a big thing of like everybody was like, he's gonna go where Rhea is, and then he signed a new contract. It's like, ooh, okay, well, I guess he's not.
But it's one of those things though. If he went over there, he's 100% going to get lost in the shuffle.
Oh, for sure.
Their roster is so bloated right now, so bloated that it just it doesn't matter who you send over. They're going to get lost in the shuffle unless it is a big, short of somebody like an Adam Cole going back or a Kenny Omega showing up. It doesn't matter who you send; they're going to get lost in the shuffle somewhat.
Yeah, and like I said, that's my only concern. I'm worried of them getting lost in the shuffle of everybody there. We've seen it too much with people that have come across, where it's like we think it's going to be a big deal, and then within a couple of weeks, it's swept under the rug, and now we're just back to them just being there on the roster. And then we've got this storyline going now. Where would they fit in that if you did want to try to put them in a high profile thing where you've got the Mox's crew trying to go against the young guys? Doesn't really fit there because if they come in, they're the new guys. They're not AEW, stalwarts.
Right.
So just doesn't quite fit where it would be needed necessarily.
I definitely think they could make a great run on the Indies, and I think they could make a great run in TNA, GCW. I mean, hell, if they went over to New Japan, that experience would be invaluable for them.
It
for
would be.
both of them.
It would absolutely would be invaluable for them. So interesting to see where they'll go, though. I do think where they are right now is that they are kind of treading water. I mean, it's unfortunate.
They're not doing anything. They're just not.
And I understand the frustrations. There's got to be a little bit of truth in what they're saying in their promos. Because Montez, when he's talking about it, he seems so passionate about it. So there's got to be a little bit of truth underlining that a little bit, of like we get up to the top, and then the rug's tucked out from under us. The last time that happened, we're with these guys, like basically calling out the whole Bobby Lashley situation, the Hurt Business, of like we were with these guys, and then they decided to go do their own thing. So now we're stuck here again, and that kind of happened. Bobby left, and then. What do we do with the profits? I don't know. Then they're off TV for a few weeks. We talked a little bit about the WWID talent program. Seen a lot of signings rolling through Twitter on that, but just a little bit of more news on it. They announced new talent signings, including Marcus Mathers, Sam Hardway, Timothy Thatcher reported that he's going to be a coach.
Oh, I was like, the fuck?
Yeah, no, that young kid fresh out of school, Timothy Thatcher, with the missing tooth. He's going to be a new young boy. No, he reportedly joined in as a coach.
I saw Booker give a contract to somebody this weekend. Ice Williams, I think is his name.
Yeah, I saw that one roll in today on Twitter. Good looking kid.
I want to know how this is going to work. Like, what are we going to do with this?
Yeah.
What's the point? Because you have a bloated main roster of 2 shows. You have a bloated NXT roster. You're doing a joint thing with TNA. What are you going to do with these people?
It's interesting. I'm wondering, because we still haven't seen it really play out in what it's going to do, and that's kind of unfortunately a wait to see situation, like what is actually happening with this. I attribute it a little bit to if you remember back when he was trying to go, he being Triple H, sorry, pronouns pal, when he was trying to go overseas, do the Japan thing and do the Europe thing and do the India thing, he talked about global like a global reach out of WWE wrestling, right? Global localization, I believe is what he called it. To make everything seem that it's all coming from the same location. I'm wondering if that's kind of what this is, but kind of the opposite of that, of like local globalization, of, hey, we're going to pick these spots in every hotbed of wrestling, and these will be like our feeder places. So to be like OVW was back in the day. This is a local promotion. They're going to keep these guys here. They're going to train them here. They're going to keep them there until we need them. So like when they needed the new class in OVW of Randy Orton and John Cena and Batista, like they kept them there and they were running there just fine until they needed that new blood. What were you saying?
Are we going to give them access to things like the Performance Center and coaches from WWE? Like, are they getting all of that?
I would think
Or
so.
is it because they should?
Yeah.
If they're doing this and doing it as a you work for us type thing, also, are they paying them?
That to me is the probably not. My guess would be is that they're probably going to have some sort of financial going into the company. So like if you think like ECW back in the 90s where they were giving some payroll to Paul, but they weren't paying the wrestlers directly. Well, let me rephrase that. They weren't giving it to Paul. They were putting it into ECW. No
Right.
check was written to Paul Heyman, according to Paul. But I would think that kind of thing. I mean, he's a shyster. It's okay. He's the Penguin before the Penguin was cool. Such a good show. I cried. That poor kid.
I haven't finished it.
Oh.
I'm like, Ty, don't.
Okay. That's all I'm gonna say then. It's a really good show. And it looks like we're getting another spin-off show out of this show, which will be fun.
We're also getting him in the Batman 2.
Mhm.
Okay, first of all, are we just going to call it Batman Part 2? Like, is this are we just being this horribly uncreative? Anyway,
I don't know. Well, Vince talked about doing an entertainment group. Maybe he's the one behind it, and it's just lazy booking. But I kind of think that may be what it is that it's their feeder station. And they may get some monetary, and I would guess probably, hey, we're going to give you one of our rings. That way you're doing things in our ring to get you prepared for that. Like cleaning up a little bit as they go along, basically. I could see that kind of stuff.
I don't know. It's still early, so I'm trying not to be a big Judgy McJudgerson about it. There's a certain level of we're just trying to monopolize talent, even though we're never going to use them feel. And I think that's where my struggle is. Because again, fuck you gonna do with them?
Yeah, I can see that. I personally, I'm having a lot of trouble having hope that it's not that type of situation, because I got scorned by someone I had a 40-year relationship with, and found out that he was a dirty human being that was like a piece of shit. Vince, like, so when I started watching wrestling, like Vince was amazing.
I was like, what?
No, I'm not making that kind of announcement on a podcast. Hey, by the way, but no,
I literally had a party for WrestleMania just to do mine, so why not?
I'm just saying I'm gonna do it on a podcast. If I'm doing it, I'm gonna do it with Flair. Not Ric Flair. Though he'll be single. He'll be single soon. Actually, I think he filed for divorce. I don't know. I don't remember now.
And his wife number 17. It doesn't have as many wives as he does championship titles at this point.
That's what he's trying. Number 18.
Or is it that the girls are 17? Is that
could be too? I'm pretty sure he was at a Diddy party or two. Great shout out to the glorious Bobby Roode, who in Michael Hayes' absence, because Hayes has taken some time off, had been taking leave, Jamie Noble and Bobby Roode have been the ones filling in for the Bloodline storylines.
I saw that.
And so, wonderful work, boys.
I will say a part of me is sad because I was a big Bobby Roode fan.
Yeah.
Big Bobby Roode fan. But to hear the praise that he's getting for what he's doing, I'm here for it.
Yeah.
He's got a great mind for the business. We've known that. He's shown that. So cool. I'm glad he's finally getting some flowers. But yeah, I saw that too, and I was like, oh, okay, that's
Yeah, good on him. Well, and Jamie Noble
yes.
too. I don't want to downplay that at all. Jamie Noble also being part of it. But hey, no one asked your opinion. Sorry, my dogs are over here barking.
I felt like your Alexa was mouthing off. I'm like,
she does sometimes.
That's going to be the electronic that kills me. Is going to be Alexa because I talk so much shit to that thing.
Jacob Fatu, we talked about last week. He had a little bit of a situation happen, where he turned off his Twitter, because he was being called out saying that he stiffed a charity. Jacob Fatu and Jake's Network of Hope confirmed their past issue is now resolved. Fatu did repay that debt to the charity. So I guess they're trying to make it no harm, no foul right now. Here's the thing. I think that's something that could be forgiven, to me anyway. Where he came from, his life before wrestling, because he says it in his interview. He wasn't even thinking about wrestling until he's in the joint looking at the TV and he sees the Usos. And he's like, all right, maybe I need to do something with that.
He was in the clink and went,
Yeah. So he made some bad decisions. He's now made recompense for it. All right, let's move on and not worry about that. Speaking of moving on, the Netflix era for WWE. So two things that have came out of this. We found out that they are pushing to do 3 hours on Netflix and 3 hours on SmackDown, for that as well. I cannot believe I'm saying this, but I missed the 3 hours. So I'm kind of excited for that to come back. Which I never thought I'd say that.
I was watching Raw today while I was working. That 3 hours goes so fucking quick.
Mm-hmm.
Or that 2 hours.
Yeah. And it's hard to think about it too, because like we hit the women's match, and I'm like, the women's tag match, and I'm like, all right, well, what's after this? Oh no, shit, that's it. All right, never mind.
This is the main event.
That's it.
I do have to say, how many women's main events have we had in the past couple months?
Oh yeah, Truth's proven a point.
Yeah,
they called him to task for race and for sexism, and he went, nope, we don't play that here.
And that's good. If we keep seeing it, I'll buy that it's a legitimate thing. And once we see it, back it up.
Yeah.
I will say, people, myself included, bitched about it. We've called out Tony Khan for it too.
Mm-hmm.
You're not taking care of your women's division. And I want to say every show has had at least one. I don't count Rampage because it's such a quick show, but even then, almost every show has had at least one women's match.
Yeah.
And something else involving the women's division.
Well, and then there's that rumor that's thrown out there right now of maybe that new show that they're working on being an all-women show, and that'd be awesome.
I agree.
I can look past not having a woman on the other shows if you have an entire show that's all for them.
If it has its own whole ass show, fuck yeah.
But the other thing that came out is apparently Netflix is kind of playing some hardball. They said they want to feature all the stars. They want CM Punk, they want Roman Reigns, they want Cody Rhodes. So we might be back down to like SmackDown 6 era of SmackDown of like, all right, we've got all these new kids. Make something of yourself.
You know what? I'm here for it.
I'd be down for it.
I'm 100. Here's the problem. First of all, how do you fit them all in 3 hours?
Yeah.
Second of all, how are you going to deal with all of those egos? which they can act like there's not, but there's an ass load of egos in that.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Do you know how much better the wrestling on SmackDown would be?
Oh, it'd be great.
That shit would be so good.
Well, and then, all right, so we're talking about feeder systems. So we have the NXT or the WWE ID program, which then that leads them into NXT because they've already said no one's skipping NXT anymore. It's going to be like you go to NXT, work your way up to the main roster.
As
To me,
they
that
shouldn't be.
to me that adds another level of a feeder because then at
Okay.
that point is you have Drillers Baseball in SmackDown, which leads to them going to the Rockies. Like it, then they go to Raw when they're big enough.
I understand the theory behind everybody goes to NXT. I do feel there are certain people that don't need to go to NXT. And them going to NXT does not help anybody there because you're not having them take the L.
Right. Well, and I think it's a very vague statement, but I think the idea is just like no one makes a debut off the street. Now, do I think if MJF, well, just because that one's always talked about, if MJF shows up in WWE, no, I don't think he needs to go to NXT.
I'll give you one that's not on TV right now. Ricky Starks. Here's the
thing. I love Ricky Starks. I do. But to introduce him into that NXT group first, I think benefits everyone. I think him moving straight to the main roster doesn't benefit him.
I disagree.
Because they're not going to put him against Cody. He's going to show up and, face schmuck number 5.
Okay.
Convince me. Tell me why I'm wrong.
I feel like with somebody like Ricky Starks, if he has that same music, when that music hits, that crowd is going to pop like they do when Seth's music hits or when Cody's music. It's not going to be just some, who the fuck is this guy? It's Ricky Starks. You're going to bring him in with that name. I'm telling you.
So,
if you run him through NXT, it's a mistake.
To me, that depends on where we're debuting it then. Do I think Ricky Starks coming in at number 12 at the Royal Rumble and that music hitting, same music, would get the pop? Yes, because we're talking about Royal Rumble. We're talking about a cavalcade of wrestling fans. Monday Night Raw and Friday Night SmackDown are not those crowds. They are I watched wrestling in the 90s and I'm bringing my kid to watch wrestling because we still watch wrestling together. So that's my concern is showing up on a random Friday or random Monday, not the Raw after a pay-per-view like that or at a pay-per-view. If he just shows up on a random Raw, I don't think he gets that pop because you're not dealing with the fans that watch him.
If I was going to debut him, though, the Rumble is where I'd do it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
He comes out in the Rumble. He comes out in the Rumble and he does something crazy, like throws out Bronson Reed or Braun Strowman or Kevin Owens. Somebody, he has a Maven moment.
Yeah.
Now.
And does more with it than Maven did.
He should 100% get the Maven treatment, just like that night. Because Maven took a beat down that night from Taker. But 100% give him the Maven moment. Have him throw Cody out.
So I could see your scenario there. He shows up at the Rumble. Cody's in the Rumble for some reason. We're talking 2 years down the line. Cody's lost the belt. He's trying to make his way back. His former student comes in and tosses him. Okay. Because then Cody can make that moment to the people.
I say Cody's in the Rumble this year with the title.
We pull like a Brock situation where you've got no one that can fight you. Well, then I'm going to get in the Rumble and prove why I'm who I am. Oh yeah.
And then Ricky comes in and throws Cody out. Whoever wins the Rumble goes after the other title. Say Finn wins it. Goes after Damian. Cody comes out on Monday, the night after the Rumble, which is a huge night.
Mm-hmm.
It's
And
not
usually the same
it's not the it's not the Raw after Mania Rumble, a Raw after Mania crowd, but it's still a huge crowd the night after Rumble. Cody comes out, calls Starks out, says, "What was that?" Ricky's music hit. He does the poses. He comes out. He gets a crowd reaction. He's standing face to face with Cody. He slaps Cody in the face and he walks off.
Okay.
And the rivalry has built itself to WrestleMania.
Okay. I'm not saying that's bad. That's a good way to do it.
I'm just saying, if I'm bringing Starks in, I'm not running him through NXT.
Okay.
I'm not doing it.
Fair enough. All right. Well, that's about all the news that I found today. So we'll go ahead and go over just the Raw results that happened. So this past Raw, first of all, there was a wonderful opening segment. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
That's where I was about to go.
Wonderful opening segment with Gunther and Damian Priest. Damian Priest has needed something because since he's lost that belt, he's just kind of been there. He's been butting around with Rhea, doing her thing. He's still been dealing with the Judgment Day and all that shit. Like, he has done nothing. This finally made him look like a contender again. I personally don't think he's going to win it. That's my own call. I don't think he's going to win it.
I disagree.
Okay. However, the story that they're telling with this, first of all, the twofold story, right? Because you have Damian that now looks like he's hot shit again. But then you also have the little minion.
And that's why I think Damian wins the title.
You think he costs him it?
Yep.
Okay.
And I think he does it because then Gunther says, "You didn't beat me." Just like Damian said, "You didn't beat me."
Oh, so we
beat me.
We get the rubber match.
The rubber match.
Okay. I could see that.
Okay, so I'm scrolling through Twitter, which I have been staying away from since last week for obvious reasons.
Okay.
Just because it's a cesspool. Did you see Xavier's tweet 10 hours ago about not a crown? It was my crown.
Mm-hmm. I love how they're playing.
I'm loving what they're doing with him.
We're going to talk a lot about the New Day at the end of this because I'm leaving that story beat kind of for the last thing I want to talk about.
Okay.
But yeah, so wonderful thing about with this segment, you've got Kaiser.
This was the first time I saw Gunther not look like a champion.
Mm-hmm. Well, and yeah, that comes to me more at the end of the match that we're about to talk about, which is so this leads to Damian's going to be facing Kaiser in the ring. Kaiser saying he's going to take care of Damian, just like he said he was going to take care of Sheamus, which is referenced by Gunther as well last week. Hey, remember you were supposed to take care of that? Well, that didn't happen. So we're leading kind of more into that again. Damage Control versus Pure Fusion Collective. We talked about that a little bit at the beginning of the stream here. It was good to see Dakota Kai back. I do wish there would have been some more fanfare about it. I wish there would have been some more, like, just a little bit of something. Because I didn't realize she was back until the match. Like, we come back from commercial, and it's like in the ring. It's like, all right, and now we're going to have this match. Oh, shit, there's Dakota Kai. Where's she been? So good that she was there. Damage Control wins. They're really on a trajectory right now to make Damage Control look impressive. Because we've got Io Sky that is doing her thing and going for the world title.
I'm a big fan of the face turn they're doing with them.
Yeah, it's natural. It's not nothing forced.
Yes,
not a big thing happened. Just kind of a yeah, all right, we're on the same side. It's fine. And went on with it. I do love what they're doing with Io. I've always been a big fan of Io, but I always thought there was something missing. Um, just little things that she's doing now, because like to me, there was always a disconnect when Io would come out in her entrance. I'm invested because it's awesome, and then she'd get in the ring and it'd just be like she's just a wrestler. But now she's doing some of those things in the ring. So like when she won the battle royal and she did that beautiful German suplex, which was on the hardest spot of the ring, in case you didn't know.
I was gonna say, in case you know, that's the hardest part of the ring out there.
But then her like laying there and kind of convulsing in the fact that she won, like those little things, because we have the language barrier. That is a problem in America. Of if they can't understand you, they're probably not going to be behind you. Her doing those little things physically, showing how she's feeling and what she's thinking, is definitely going to help. So I love what they're doing with her. We had a fun little backstage thing. I said we're gonna talk about New Day later, but this leads into the next match, so we kind of got to talk about it a little bit.
Right.
So
Right.
Kofi's backstage. He finds excuse me, R-Truth. Says, "Hey, I haven't had time to talk to you," which is bullshit because he just tweeted like 2 days before that they were on a plane together. So it's like, you didn't talk? Like, if I have any pet peeve of wrestling, that's one of them. That we pretend like we didn't have a chance to talk in 7 days. You couldn't text, tweet, or hey, you were on the plane together. You didn't have time for a conversation about this. But anyway, so Kofi says, "Hey, I didn't have a chance to tell you. Like, I'm sorry for what went down, and I'm sorry that we didn't help you out. Just apparently like Woods, and it's almost like Beetlejuice. He said Woods, and then Woods popped up. Everyone's like, "Hey, what are we talking about?"
Woods pulled a Joe Hendry. Say his
Yeah.
name.
Yep, and he was there. And so they're kind of having a little back and forth of like, it's not our problem. It shouldn't be our problem. We need to get back our tag titles. And then Butch Pete shows up. It's like, "Hey, I'm tired of this. R-Truth.
Is he the new Tom Mike Tom? Is that what we're doing?
Apparently, like that's what R-Truth's doing. And so he pops up and he's like, "Hey, I told you not to say that name. Every time I turn around, I hear you're saying the name behind my back." And R-Truth playing it off beautifully. I love the way R-Truth handles like these little comedic
I love
moments.
R-Truth.
He's just like, "Oh, I did it again. All right, well, what do you want me to call you now?" And so that leads to a little verbal back and forth between Kofi and Pete Butch, which leads to a match, which Austin is visibly upset about. Because now, again, Kofi is making something about them that has nothing to do with them. And then I'm a little confused because then he walks off like he's through with the situation, but then he comes out with him. That was weird. But anyway, that led to Pete Dunne versus Kofi Kingston. Dunne wins because Woods tried to cheat. He tried to help out Kofi by doing a little shenanigans. Kofi called him out about it. Kofi got in the ring. Pete had already recovered, and then got him with the bitter end. Which then was a little confused of how this started, but I loved how it ended. So Kofi rolls out. He's got his arm around Woods. They're kind of helping him get down. Woods is jaw jacking the entire way down the ramp of like, "I told you, like, why are you fighting with me? I'm trying to help you win here. We're trying to get you the win. We're trying to get back on track." Finally, he just shoves Woods off and is like, "Shut up!" And they're going back and forth as far as just verbally, no fisticuffs or anything, but just like verbally going at each other. I love what they're doing with this. We've got, let's see, it is the 12th. Oop, oh. All right, things blinked for a second. My bad.
2.5 weeks to Survivor Series.
Well, I wasn't even thinking Survivor Series. So we've got the Monday Night Raw that's supposed to be a dedication ceremony to the New Day. The 25th is actually the day. That is the anniversary day. So it works out perfectly that it's on a Raw. So So we've got 2 weeks until that. So we got one more week kind of build more on this. I don't want them to turn Woods. I don't. But the way they're doing it's really good. I can't say much against it. They're doing it really well.
I don't want it to be a I'm turning on you Seth Rollins style.
No.
I want it to be a, you know what, I can't do this anymore. We're not who we used to be. We're two different people. I'm just gonna go do my own thing. Best of luck to you, and walk off.
Well, and because that's what it is, right? It's they both have the same plan. Like it's they both want the same thing, but they're just wanting to go at it 2 different ways. Kofi's trying to be goody Kofi and do like be there for everybody like he always has been, and Woods is trying to kind of like, hey, you know, we were a big hit when we were kind of doing some shenanigans, and so maybe we go back to that and we do what we have to win, and that'll be okay. What's over there giggling at?
Yesterday, Xavier tweeted, we sent it on Blue Sky, said, the other day the doctor told me I was going deaf. It was really hard to hear.
Yeah, I saw that. That's how I saw he was on Blue Sky.
And then I scrolled down and somebody posted a thing that said, I'm broke and I'm going to the grocery store. I need someone to loan me some. And there's a picture of a guy from the WWF back in the day called Pork Chop Cash. And the 2 of them just got me, and I wasn't ready for it.
Pork Chop Cash.
He said, I need someone to loan me some Pork Chop Cash. I can't.
That's great. We come back from commercial. Big Bronson Reed is making his way down to the ring. I probably could have done without the entrance. Like we could have just came back and he was in the ring. I don't know why we did the entrance. Because he's in.
They're trying to make him a big deal. That's why.
Well, no, but he's in slacks and a polo. I mean.
But they're still just trying to make him a big deal. Like that's
him coming out there and like doing the big stomp on the stairs and arms in the air, like he's like, okay. I mean, you look like you're late for your job at Best Buy. What are we doing here? But anyway,
you have a wrestling match at 8 and have to be at work at 9.
That's right. But so he's in the ring and he's just telling truth, basically. All it is, like he's saying, like, look, like, you know, we went toe to toe and you won. That's all fine. But all right, Mr. Revolutionary. All right, Mr. Mr. Seth freaking Rollins. If you want your revenge, come down here right now. Which then prompts to Seth Rollins music. They have a brawl back and forth. No real winner out of it at this point. So just kind of building that tension, building it back up of them having another match, which I am perfectly fine with. That setup between those two is awesome. So
that match was easily match of the night at Blood Money or whatever the fuck it's called.
Well, and it was no more than like 8 minutes. It was just like, and there wasn't even a lot in it, but just the story itself of like Seth got a quick.
That match was 8 minutes.
It wasn't long. Like I want to say it was under 10. Because they didn't do a lot, and then we got the 3 consecutive stops after that. I think it ended up pretty quick. But either way, like what little they had to do in that didn't really matter. It was such a great story, and the idea of like Seth kind of got a quick like gotcha of hitting the consecutive stops and then getting the win, for Bronson then to get up and show the monster that he is.
12 minutes and 20 seconds.
Well, okay. Is that including?
I was like,
is that including entrances though?
I don't know.
That's always the thing I have to look at, because it's like Seth's entrance is insane of how long that could be. We get a fun little backstage. We got Miz walking backstage, then gets caught by the Final Testament. Miz is like, "Hey, I'm gonna go talk to Pierce. I need some personal time. I'm gonna leave." And of course, Karrion is digging at him, trying to figure out what happened. He was like, "Yeah, but you were with the Wyatts. and now you're not. So talk to me and tell me what happened. So he's like, look, I made amends. I said I was sorry. I told him I'm a different person now, and I truly do feel like I'm a better person. I'm going to go take some leave. I'm going to be with my family. I'm going to focus on my family. He says that's not good enough. Says, hey, remember last week when I said I was going to break your legs? And then AOP scoops him up, and they walk him straight to the ring. Two things about this. First of all, I love the swooping camera that we have now. Of like, we just went straight from like they dragged him straight through there. The surprise on Triple H's face as they're going by Gorilla, because he just swoops them through there. And then I don't know if he tripped or if they pushed and he did the prop fall, but something happened when he did that fall and he busted right above his eye, which to
I
me
saw that.
made it even better. Because what we found out is once he got to the ring, they're looking like they're going to hurt him. He's on his ass. Lights go down. Miz is looking scared for his life. He scurries out of the ring. We've got the Wyatts looking across from Final Testament. The Wyatts come in. They're about to go face to face. Rowan gets a chair in the back, Seth style, from the Miz. It was all a charade.
So
Miz
good.
lied about the whole thing. Which, yeah, so good the way he played that.
When they started this, I was like, this is going to be so stupid. And I've been completely wrong. This has been so well done.
Yeah.
And that match is going to be so good.
It is. I've seen a little bit of chatter of people upset. They think it's hurting the Wyatts the way this happened because
Absolutely
they got
not.
laid out. But yes,
Of course they did.
They got laid out, which is fine. But the final shot is of Karrion looking concerned because despite the fact that they just whooped his ass with steel chairs and he's bleeding out of his mouth, Bo is
Bo's
just laughing his ass off.
This did not make them look weak. This did not hurt the Wyatts in any way. This was a great segment, start to finish, and fight your mom over it because no, it wasn't.
Yeah, it was really, really good. I'm happy with where it's going. I'm intrigued to see what happens because it's two groups that I couldn't have cared less about Final Testament a month ago.
You're
but
not
now
wrong.
I'm invested in that group, and so I don't want to see either group disbanded. So I'm interested now to see what happens. I think at the end of it, Miz probably ends up being the sacrificial lamb.
100%.
But
there's no chance that he's not.
I do love the fact though that like once they laid everybody out, they're back in the back and Miz is like, I did it, and they're hugging and he's like, I love you, Miz, I love you. So nice little stuff. Good segment.
Little things like that are what make a great segment.
Yeah.
I honestly, I'm with you. I couldn't have given a shit about the Final Testament. Couldn't have given a fuck.
Mm-hmm.
This has made that so much better.
And just real quick, to get serious for a moment, if I could pray to the wrestling gods, please let this mean that we're going to see Scarlett in the ring. Because Nikki Cross is over there. Nikki Cross loves to wrestle. And she's really good at it.
They got physical last night, too.
I know. That's what I'm saying. Please let them wrestle. Please let Scarlett get in the ring. Because I'd love to see that again. This one was doing Canadian Destroyers on Jacob Fatu. Like, come on. Let her wrestle. Please. Don't pull Samantha on this and not let her do what she wants to do. But anyway, so then we have the Damian and Kaiser match. Wonderful match. Kaiser didn't have his way most of the match. It was really a spotlight for Damian. That South of Heaven looked sick.
Yeah, it did.
Absolutely loved it. But the key thing about this is, so after the match, Gunther comes out, and this is kind of what you were talking about just a little bit earlier. It's the first time that Gunther has not looked like the prominent, proud champion because he looked really concerned about
That's what I'm
what's
saying.
going on.
If they do this right, they're going to make Damian Priest look like an absolute beast
Mm-hmm.
by the time it's over.
Yeah,
It's just
he's on such a great track, and just the thought that he's in this and he's showing signs of being the monster that he deserves to be. He is the bisexual Undertaker. He is like
he just doesn't have trash takes and hang out with.
that too.
You know what? You know what? I'm gonna stop because
R.I.P. in peace. Anyway, but the idea though that he's being put in the spot where he deserves to be.
he
He
100%
was a
does.
world champion. He deserves to be back in the spot. And the story, like, he should have had it earlier because it writes itself, right? He didn't lose the match because he lost the match. He lost the match because of his old crew. But the way they played it has been so wonderful of him saying, like, look, I got to deal with this shit first, but don't get that twisted because when I'm done with that, I'm coming back for you. And he did. And now he's right back in that role of trying to get the title belt back.
Yeah, that's like I said. It's just
I see where you're coming from on like how Priest could get it, and I like that. I like the idea that because then we'd have a rubber match and all that. I kind of like the idea of him keeping the belt and starting a thing with Kaiser because Kaiser's amazing.
Yeah,
I said last week, and you laughed at me a little bit. I think he's one of the like top 5 talkers in the business right now. He's so good.
I don't think he's easily top 10. I cannot put him in the top 5.
I understand. But
the reason I think that he cost Gunther the title is because Kaiser's not ready for that belt. He's not ready to be in a position to be that elevated.
mm-hmm.
He's not there yet. He's standing on the edge. He's on the edge of greatness, but he's not there yet. And that's why I think he cost Gunther the belt. And then we get those two going for a bit. And if they have him go over on Gunther, then you send him after the world title, whether he wins it or not. It makes him look like $1 million fucking dollars.
All right, I'm good with it.
And I don't think it hurts. It hurts Gunther at all to take that L to Priest, and even to take that L to Kaiser at the right time.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I can see where you're coming from on that. So final match of the night, we had the women's tag team match. Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair versus the world women's champion Liv Morgan and Raquel. It was a good match. I don't say that to make fun of this match at all. This was a good match. Raquel played a good, strong role in it. We also got to see a live rendition of the new finisher that Jade's been working on, which looked beautiful in the ring.
Loved it.
I think it's a good change, right? Because obviously
it's a good variation on Jaded.
Yeah.
That she can do on smaller people.
Yeah.
That makes it look more effective.
I do wonder, like, why are we looking for a new finisher? Like, is someone saying something because Beth? Like, is that a thing, or like what's going on with that? But if that's the thing, is we're going with this new finisher, it's pretty.
It is. I think Jada would still be good for a Nia, a Raquel, somebody big like that. Rhea Ripley. Somebody small like Liv, Io, any of a number of people that are smaller, even Bianca.
Yeah.
This one looks, she has to work for it a little more. So to me, it makes it a little more of a devastating finish.
I don't disagree. What I would like to see personally, though, is with the smaller folks, I would prefer to see her go back into doing like the devastating Jadeds of like having them up in the electric chair position, popping them down for it and stuff. Like I'd love to see that instead than making a new finisher, but not my choice. It still looks like a pretty move. It's very similar to Jaded. It still gets her into that signature pinning position that she loves to do. So it's not like it's a bad move. It's a good move. But speaking of that, so Belair hits the KOD on Morgan for the win. So they end up winning the night. But after the match, Nia Jax comes in and attacks Cargill and Belair. Naomi gets in it too.
She attacked them during the match, I thought.
No,
she attacked Jade during the match.
Did she? No, okay. I must have missed that.
Yeah.
I caught the aftermatch beat down. So but that goes down. Naomi comes out. Io Sky comes out. Faces stand tall for that. And what seems to be a glimpse of what we may be getting at Survivor Series for the women. So it's a good little startup of it.
Did you see Io and Bianca?
Mm-mm.
Bianca was hesitant to shake Io's hand, but did.
Good. Okay.
Which went back to
Damage Control making her hell for
and
years.
some couple weeks ago, Io walked up and she's like, "No, we are not like that. Like we are not cool." Mm-hmm. So it was well done.
Yeah. Well, and it's those little things, those little tidbits that make stories even better. So we'll have that paid off somewhere down the line. That'll be referenced somewhere down the line. At some point, one of the two's got to spin off between Bianca and Jade. So if Bianca spins off and becomes the heel, then that's the perfect setup for that. Of she can act like she's cool with Damage Control while they're faces, then eventually turn on them because of all the shit they did to her. And then we got another one of those like rightful heels. Speaking of rightful heels, just to kind of throw it out there, did you see the pile driver Kevin Owens did to Randy Orton?
Was it last week?
Yeah, it was SmackDown last week.
Yeah.
I love that we have protected the pile driver because no one's been doing it. And they haven't said it's a banned move until Friday.
Did.
No, I was saying until Friday.
Oh, yeah.
Friday, they were like, that move's banned. Just no one's been doing it. We haven't been saying it was banned. But them throwing that little bit in there of like, that's a banned move, we're not doing that move, makes it even better. So now he's doing something wrong. They talked about it on the Busted Open podcast. Bully Ray had said it's like they're trying to put the genie back in the bottle, right? Because the pile driver had become one of those moves like the DDT, like the super kick, where people are just doing it everywhere.
Even AEW has cut down. They've got MJF, and every now and then Adam Cole did a heat seeker from the middle rope.
Yeah.
They did it to Danielson a couple times. I think a couple of different people did it to Danielson because of his neck.
Yeah.
They don't use it a ton either, and I'm fine with that.
Yes. I do think
I was watching when Owen Austin happened.
Mm-hmm.
And you could see, obviously, where Steve's head was when he hit and why it went the way it did. I'm fine with them not using the move and only doing it every now and then like this.
Yeah.
Just because we saw what it did to Steve.
Yep. Well, and I did see some correspondence on Twitter that kind of made me sick, which is, par for the course lately. But someone had mentioned, they said that it looked like a soft pile driver, which it did look very safe. I mean, if you sit here and nitpick it, his head was nowhere near the ground.
And it shouldn't be.
And some of that to me was the angle. A similar thing happened on Raw. Pete Dunne was doing like the forearm shivers to Kofi on the ground, and it was just a bad camera spot. The camera was going head on with it, and so you could see that he wasn't anywhere near Kofi's head. And someone had said something about it. It's like, well, what do you want to? Do you want him to give him a concussion? Like, is that you want it to be that real? But so anyway, so the sickening thing that I saw on there is They said there was a soft looking pile driver. This is what a real pile driver looks like, and they did the video of Owen Hart and Austin, and it's just sickening. By no means should we ever be celebrating someone being injured. It's walls come down, right? It's a very inviting place that we try to make here. Wrestling's fake. We all know it is. It's not real. I don't want to see them and they're actually getting hurt. I want to see the acting. I want to see the gymnastics. I want to see all that. So if I look at it and I see, okay, that obviously didn't hurt him, okay. It's fine. I can still live in my little bubble of
Right.
you know,
100%.
he's devastated.
And I will say I'm all for safety. We've talked about this, the refs holding the ladders, things like that. If you're going to throw a forearm, I need it to look like you're throwing a forearm. Quit. They're tuning, and I understand the fine line between I'm pulling the punch and I busted somebody's teeth out. But if you can't make it look and sound good without hurting them, we have
Machine
a problem.
gun chops.
And
sorry.
Yes, no, literally. But that's, and I don't remember who it was the other night. I was watching them do forearms, and I'm just like, ew.
I mean, there is a fine line on that, right? Like I want it to look good,
right?
But like to use that pile driver specifically as the thing, I'm not looking at Randy's head when that happens. I'm not paying attention to how they have it positioned. I'm paying attention to the fact that the move that I know from my childhood as the most devastating move that Paul Orndorff ever did to Hogan, and that Hogan was convulsing on the floor after he got pile driven. That's what I was looking at. Mark Henry joined into that conversation a little bit, and he was talking about, he's like, do you remember wrestling as a kid, like playing wrestling with your brothers or your friends or whatever? And he was like, and you chose to be Jake the Snake. And you're like, I got the DDT, and everybody's complaining because you got the DDT, and that's why is that? Because when the DDT hit, done. There's no getting up from that.
Yeah.
And
I definitely feel like we have gone away from protecting certain moves. I'm all for a super kick not finishing something, but when Shawn hits chin music, that's a wrap because it protects Shawn.
Right.
We have 94 people doing a spear. I need Roman to come up with something better. I need Jay to come up with something better. I'm honestly okay with Braun keeping it because he makes that shit look so devastating.
Yeah.
I hate that Solo does the spear. Stop it. Stop it. The reason when Goldberg did it, it was a big deal because he was the only one doing it, and he made it look like Braun Breaker does now.
Right. Well, and especially when you have something that's already devastating, like him doing the Samoan Spike, like that's a legit move. It's a legit thing. You have that that thumb taped up. You're jabbing it straight into their jugular. It's a legit thing. One of my favorite moves to this day is the Mandible Claw, because at one point Mick Foley sat down and explained what that move is, and I don't know if you've ever heard it. Well, okay, for those that listen, like it's a nerve hold, and what you're doing is you're putting these two fingers under the tongue, you're putting this one underneath here, and you're basically pinching that nerve that's there.
Yeah.
Causing pain and causing you to black out. It's a legit move.
Yeah.
Why do you don't have to do these flashy, like, and let me get off my pulpit for a second. I'm not one of those, like, don't do the flippy shit. Flippy shit's fun. All right. I loved the cruiserweights back in WCW days. I love
flippy shit. I don't care what anybody says about it.
But I'm just saying, you don't have to do like a 450 off the top of a cage to make something devastating. You don't have to hit someone 15 times in the face with a steel chair to make it look devastating.
22. It's 22 times.
Yes.
Also, if you're jumping off the top of a cage, don't land on your feet. If you have any questions about that, call Adam Copeland.
Yeah.
I'm
Or
with
call
you.
his orthopedic surgeon, because they probably might know more.
I'm with you on there are certain moves that to an extent should be protected by everybody in the business.
Mhm.
Like I said, if you had put Sean in there with Dolph in their primes, you absolutely let Dolph hit that super kick on Sean and have Sean kick out.
Yeah.
But when Sean hits that chin music, wrap.
Well, and it's, to me, it's the setup, right? So, like, you get hit with a spine buster, right? Spine buster hurts. You get hit by a spine buster by Arn Anderson, because the way he snaps it, different ballgame. You get hit with a spine buster from Ron Simmons, because he does that lift up, almost choke slam type
Yeah.
of, different ballgame. It's a different thing.
Batista.
Yeah. With the sweet chin music, it's the setup. He's not just hitting a quick kick to your face. He's lining it up, waiting for you to be in the perfect spot to kick you perfectly where he needs to. It's not the super kick party where they're just stepping back and doing a kick.
Right.
So
Sean's coming 4 steps across the ring for it.
Right. With the spear, Roman's looked okay. I've never been a fan of Roman's spear. Jay's
isn't bad.
Jay's isn't bad, but Jay, to me, when he does his splash, it's like he's floating. Like, he is so smooth with it.
Yeah.
He does the same thing when he hits the spear. To me, it doesn't look devastating, because it doesn't look like he's like ramming into the guy. It looks like he's floating into the guy.
Right.
So I'm with you. I think he needs to do something else. Keep with the splash. Nobody's doing the damn splash except for Bronson, and Bronson's 505,000 pounds. So that's why his hurts.
A little different.
But it's things like that. Like, it's the move makes sense depending on who's doing it.
Like, I'm all for protect. Like, Adam Cole took Black Mask and kicked out.
Mm-hmm.
First person to kick out of it that I'm aware of at all. Which means he okayed Adam kicking out of that.
Well, and that's a conversation too, right? And I mean, we got like 10 more minutes on night, so sure, we can touch on this. Just real quick, just to end that out. So obviously we know where we're going for Survivor Series for the women now. From there, we start getting a little bit of stuff that was recorded. We're not going to get into that stuff, but it does make me excited to watch next week. So I'm really excited to see what's going to happen in the next Raw. This is where I do have a little bit of, like, I'm an old head in this business, and I've been watching it for way too long.
Okay.
Stop kicking out of finishers. Like, on certain occasions. So, like, in that case, he hit one Black Mass, and he kicked out of one.
And it was not a set up Black Mask. It was kind of an out of nowhere.
Which it makes sense. It's not. It's the adage of, I don't think you got it all. Like, that's fine.
Yeah.
He didn't have time to set it up. He didn't have time to get in position for it. He just clipped him with it. Okay, that makes sense. But I don't need 3 crossroads. I don't understand this.
I understand it to an extent, in that I feel like using 3 crossroads basically is saying, I know one's not going to do it. This person is tough enough that I have to hit it 3 times. And like him doing it to Roman, 1000%. That was the way to finish that match.
Mm-hmm.
You should never have to do that again. It doesn't matter who it is. It should never take 3 unless it's Roman.
See, to me though, it's the setup to that because I think he did 2 or even 3 before hitting the 3 in a row.
He hit 2.
If you hit 1 and 1 didn't do it, and so you decided out of a fit of passion that you're going to do 3 in a row, okay. He shouldn't have kicked out of a second one.
Again, there's nuances and things that I definitely think are getting lost because of kicking out of finishers. I think we're losing effectiveness to some of these, in that, yes, if Bronson hits a tsunami, that should be a wrap.
Yeah.
One should be a wrap.
No one aside from Braun Strowman
Yes,
should be kicking out of a tsunami because
100%.
man is 3 times your size and landing from the top rope on you. You're done. There's nothing coming back from that.
It's one of those things. Should Braun kick out after the first one? Maybe. After the second or third? Absolutely not.
Yeah, no. And
should anybody else? Should anybody else kick out of the first one? Probably not.
Yeah.
Now, if you're close enough and get a foot on the ropes, I'm good with that.
Well, and that's the other thing. I don't think we're using that nearly enough either. Like the psychology of where you are in the ring being part of how you get out of a situation. Putting your hand on the rope, putting your foot under the rope, like those little things of like, I don't have the strength to kick out of this, but I'm going to do this to get out of it. And to me, like, this would be something that would be overdone if they did it. Poke motherfucker in the eye. Like, I can't kick out, but just one jab in the eye. He'll move.
I'm all for I can't kick out. Let me just grab a handful of hair.
Yeah.
And pull up.
Yeah. Because what
I
are they
don't
going to
have
do?
to lift the shoulder to do this.
Yeah. Of course, then again, refs would just push your shoulder back down because that's what we do here.
It's like Cameron was in the ring.
How do you pin someone upside down? Like, I don't understand how that happened. Of like, she's on her belly, I'm gonna try to pin her. Literally, it's shoulders on the mat. That's the term. The term is shoulders on the mat. She came back at some point.
She came back at a Rumble and it didn't last very long.
No, not at all. Yeah. Well,
2 things I found.
Oh, sure, go ahead.
While we're sitting here, the collision after whatever the next ROH pay-per-view is also going to be at the Hammerstein.
Okay.
I'm kind of here for that.
Yeah, little back-to-back option with that. That's good. Hammerstein's such a good venue. Like it's nice. It's compact.
It's a great venue.
And here's the thing. And this is for anybody who joins in. I am not an AEW hater. I do love AEW. I hope that they do well. I will say the Hammerstein is a better venue for an AEW event because they don't have the crowds right now for the big arenas.
100%.
People throwing
100%.
the pictures out there and all that. To me, it doesn't mean a lot to me because they're trying to do these big arenas. They just don't have the bodies for it right now. And that's fine. Do smaller arenas. And so them doing the Hammerstein makes all the sense in the world because it is going to look packed in that arena.
Did you see the whole thing Moxley said in that interview recently about why he's doing what he's doing? Basically, he said, we've gotten away from where we were, and we need to get back to that. And he said he heard somebody in the back say something to the effect of, who gives a shit? It's just the bottom of the card. And Moxley's response was, that person should be fucking fired.
Yeah.
Because we all at some point started at the bottom of the card. So I feel like what they're trying to do with this with Mox is kind of a reset.
Mhm.
Let's get back to what made us who we were 5 years ago.
Yeah. I'm down
And
for it.
I am too. I'm loving what they're doing. So I'm loving bad guy Xavier Woods. I'm just somebody commented on that thing about his crown with Woods. You're starting to sound like Drew, and he said, "You mean right?"
Well, and that's the thing. Like I do wonder, and it's just because they have a tendency to do this, that we're gonna start overplaying this like bad guys right thing a little too much, because we had Drew and we had Kevin and now we have Woods, and all of them are bad guys that are right. So
I I feel like people like Xavier who have basically been a face since day one.
Mhm.
I mean, he got OVW shut down, so I guess you could kind of be a heel for that. But um, you've heard that story, right?
Mhm.
Okay. For those that haven't, go watch the Table for Three on WWE Network or whatever the fuck it's called now of the New Day. You'll understand.
Yeah, just go pull your Peacock
Um,
out. It'll be there.
no, just no.
Sorry. Go
Anyway,
ahead.
I feel like he has played the good guy from the beginning.
Mhm. For the most part,
I,
the New Day started as heels, but
that lasted for about 45 seconds. Lasted for a cup of coffee. I I'm here for heel Xavier. Honestly, I'm here for heel Kofi.
Mhm.
Get him to convince Kofi that this is the way to go and have them start doing those heel tactics and those little things.
Yeah.
I just,
Like I still
I
remember
would have done
the
this completely different than what they're doing. And we're about to run out of time because I know we try not to go forever but after,
that's fine. No, that's
you
fine.
know.
Um, yeah, I mean, I think that'd be a nice turn to the story if that's what we do, of Kofi kind of seeing the light of, you know what, he's right. Like, we're not where we were before, and we need to get back there. The way we get back there is we start where we started, and just go back to being that heel New Day. Um, I don't think the fans would be. I don't think the fans would be helpful in that situation, because I think the fans are going to cheer them no matter what, because Kofi and Woods are just so damn entertaining. And if, because again, we got 2 weeks away, we haven't seen the man yet. Are we hiding Big E for a reason? If he pops back out there, that crowd is going to go insane.
If he pops back out there and says, I'm tired of this, we're going to settle this in the ring. Not just you two, the three of us.
Oh, we get a 3-way with a New Day. I would be so stoked. Um,
I
if he can't go though, I still like the way that goes. I still like the idea of him going like, no, you two settle it right now, and we get a
get in
match with
there and say,
Kofi and Woods.
I'm going to be the special guest referee. And let's just be clear, I'm not stopping this till one of you can't get up.
Mm-hmm.
But you're going to work this out.
The one thing I'm like, if we're gonna turn Woods right, to me, him turning on Kofi doesn't do it. But
And
if
I
Big
know
E
where you're going with
can't
this.
go, and he gets taken out by Woods, oh, it's
Oh,
over. It's a
no.
wrap.
Oh, no. You set up the match at the beginning of the show. This is your main event. It's Kofi and Woods. And then you find E laid out in the back. And the first person to get to him is Woods. And he blames Kofi. And then when you come out, the match is about over. Woods is about to win. E starts walking out as the video plays of Xavier attacking E. Kofi hits Trouble in Paradise for the win.
That would be good too. Yeah, I like
Cinema.
that. But I mean, we have to be holding him back for something. There's got to be some reason we haven't seen Big E. one
Right.
time talking
With
about
all
this
of this
special
going
event.
on.
So it'll be interesting to see what happens with that. I'm excited for next Raw, but I'm more excited for the Raw after that because I cannot wait to see the culmination of this thing that we're doing with the New Day. If you haven't had a chance to see it, one of Wood's great friends who used to be just a YouTuber, now he's a professional wrestler. He did a little video which was just hilarious, of him seeing what's going on there. He calls Woods, gets Woods' voicemail, and he's like, "Hey, man, I saw this thing on Raw, and it looks like like there's some tension going on, and it could be a deep fake because they're really good at the AI stuff now, so it could be just that's all it is. But I'm just we got the celebration coming up and everything, and you've been really good and inspiring to people that want to be in the business, inspiring to people in general. Like it's just it's gonna be a great thing. It's gonna be a great celebration. And I really appreciate that." And as he's like trying to wind down the phone call, like he gets really quiet and he gets this very somber, sad look on his face. He goes, "Please don't break up." Hangs up the phone. A lot of fun. I do kind of wonder if that match is going to be back on. Speaking of which, now that Adam Cole's back, because his first match was supposed to be Adam Cole, and then that's when Adam Cole got hurt. So I kind of wonder if we're going to go back to that at some point. I did see he's got a big match coming up here soon. I forget who against, but at a different venue. But anyway, all right, yeah, we're hitting 9:03, so maybe we should go ahead and wrap this up. Thank you guys for joining us on the stream. We had a couple of new people drop in, a couple of new people join the group here, so thanks so much. We appreciate that. We are on the road to 50 when it comes to Twitch, because at 50, at that point, we can have some more fun with it. We're doing still great on our TikToks. Go out there and check out that stuff. We got a good bunch of people on Twitch and YouTube both that are part of the SportCoin network that joined us as well. Speaking of that, we are part of the SportCoin network. It is a sports network to help fans see new content, and that way they're not seeing the same old faces every single time they try to go through that. So if you want to break away and catch some new entertainment, just put in #SportCoin on Twitter, and then you should be able to see it from there. I do see some of them have trickled over to Blue Sky, so I don't know if that's something that's going to happen with the whole group.
Noticed that too.
If not, who knows? Maybe we'll have it a Kicking At It 2 network. Maybe we'll work that out. I kind of like the sound of that. Hope you like the new digs. Worked hard on that.
Happy birthday to our girl Phoenix.
Oh, very, very good. Happy birthday, Phoenix. I forgot all about that. I did hit her up on Facebook, but I forgot all about that.
She just posted her 49ers cake, and I heard it lost already.
Oh, that hurts my soul. Throw that kind of stuff out there. Anyway, before we wrap this up, though, we do have to just say that up next, Chris and Rita encounter a peculiar snitch when they investigate a bizarre burglary ring that leads them to murder and the mob. Coming up next on Silk Stockings. Did you see the screen? Look at the screen. All right.
I can't deal with you. Oh, God.
All right. Remember, pro wrestling is for everyone. Let's keep supporting each other and building this awesome community together. Until next time, I am Michael. With me, as always, is Tori, and we will catch you